All right, so we are going to tackle yet again another way to manage your stress. And this way might be possibly the most influential on stress. So we've gone through just kind of mindset, we've gone through sleep, which helps stress levels a ton. But this is kind of the window to managing stress. We don't realize how much stress we induce on ourselves simply just from our way of life. And breathing is one of those things that physiologically can absolutely change the levels of stress or perception of stress in your body. It's a physical act that can create anxiety or take it away. And we're going to talk all about it. And you are going to like this module, I think, specifically because we're going to go over breathing, a lot of the things that are tied into breathing, the amount of things breathing can affect. And then I have kind of a more hands-on approach where after this, I'm going to go through some coaching points on breathing and some different drills we can do to maybe correct any dysfunctional breathing from sitting over the number of years, weak respiratory muscles and the abdominals, the diaphragm, all like we're going to go through the whole thing, and then I'm going to add some application here. But this is a really good quote here in the front from breathing.com. This is a whole website dedicated to breathing. And due to breathing's potential dominance of the autonomic nervous system, which is your automatic nervous system, we've covered that. That's the nervous system part of your body that controls the sympathetic side, which is your fight or flight, or parasympathetic side, which is your rest and digest. And anything you do 5,000 to 30,000 times a day, or 2 to 500 million times per lifetime, will influence you positively or negatively in many, many ways. So let's get into the concepts of breathing, and then we're going to actually apply better ways to control our stress through breathing. So good breathing has four components. It's efficient, it's adaptive, it's responsive, and supportive. So think about efficient. Efficient means we don't have to think about it too much. Good breathing happens naturally. It's adaptive, meaning you're adaptive and responsive, means that based on the stressors or the scenarios that you encounter on a regular basis, your breathing and nervous system should be able to adapt normally to those things. Where we get into a lot of trouble is that if we are in a non-stressful situation or in a situation where we're not actually encountering a threat, but due to our thoughts, our emotions, even our posture, we can create a stress response inside of our body. And that's where we fall short, I think, in our culture right now, where we have so many unnatural stressors. We watch TV when we get stressed out. We can be sitting for a long period of time and shorten our breathing, creating a stress response when nothing's actually happening, and kind of create, again, this feeling of uneasiness in our body. So, and then of course, good breathing is supportive. It should support health. It should support you in a way that allows you to live through life in a normal way. So why practice breathing? Breathing seems like something that we should naturally be able to do, and we do it on a regular basis. You're like, bro, I already breathe. I don't know why I have to spend some time on just doing that. It's kind of like, walking, put one foot in front of the other. But again, breathing is so influential in our life. And if you've had a desk job for a long period of time, or if you had a previous injury, if you have a lot of sleepless nights, or you've had some kind of stressors going on in your world, and you're not already in peak physical shape, or you haven't maybe learned what good breathing should feel like, there's a good chance that a lot of your respiratory muscles have weakened, or your breathing patterns have changed without you realizing it. Again, we live in a pretty unnatural world, and if you sit a lot, or you haven't gone through a bunch of weight training already and have really good strong breathing patterns already taught to you, there's a good chance there's either some breathing dysfunction going on or some inefficient breathing going on that could be causing some problems, and you may not even realize it. May be unintentionally stressing you out. So one thing that research has taught us, a couple of things research has taught us, is that breathing or dysfunctional breathing is associated with pain. And in this case, this particular study cited that disorders of breathing and continence, okay, meaning unintentional behaviors, have a stronger association with back pain than obesity and physical activity. See, it's more important than you realize. And this study quotes that mid-aged and older women had higher odds of having back pain often when they experienced breathing difficulties, often compared to women with no breathing problems. Unlike obesity and physical activity, disorders of continence and respiration were strongly related to frequent back pain. This relationship may be explained by the physiological limitations of coordination of postural, respiratory, and continence functions of trunk muscles. So why is this happening? Why do you think this is happening? Of all the muscles, we don't think of breathing as a muscular activity, but muscles create inhales and exhales, after signals from the brain. So imagine a Coke can, okay, unopened. An unopened Coke can take tremendous amounts of pressure with the condensed air and completely sealed. Imagine that Coke can is actually your torso. If you open the Coke can and let all of the air out, it takes barely any pressure to crush it. So when you become weak or have poor, very, very weak breathing patterns, you lose strength in that torso and that thoracic cavity, and you lose the ability to stabilize your spine. And especially if you're seated in one position for a long period of time and have very shallow or weak breathing patterns, that spine is just losing stability, and it's getting shoved into pretty poor positions where discs can get compressed and all of this nasty stuff. Another study showed that neck pain and breathing are also linked. And they concluded that patients with chronic neck injuries or neck pain present weaknesses of their respiratory muscles. Neck pain is also associated. Also, individuals with low back pain breathe differently than healthy individuals during a lifting test. This is something that's been researched quite a bit lately, is that not only does poor breathing possibly cause pain or create movement patterns that create pain, but also while lifting, while actually performing a task, unhealthy individuals tend to breathe much, much worse, which puts you at a higher risk during lifting activities. So even if, say, breathing, maybe an injury that you've had in the past wasn't caused by poor breathing, but that pain that you have now causes you to breathe differently, therefore putting you in more risk-prone positions, especially in the gym. So if we're going to start lifting weights, breathing control is absolutely necessary, because again, it can put you in a really, really bad position and sometimes cause an injury or pain that might be diagnosed incorrectly, when breathing might have been the original cause of it or the biggest contributor to the pain. Breathing pattern disorders and functional movement. So functional movement is, human movement. A lunge, a squat, a push, a pull, a pull-up, those are all human movements. And functional movement is just the ability to perform those or a variety of movements in a biomechanically friendly way, meaning your joints all work appropriately. There's no loads put on, excess loads put on the wrong joints, everything working pretty smoothly. So breathing was assessed in 34 healthy individuals using a multidimensional approach that included biomechanical, biochemical, breathing-related symptoms, and breathing functionality measurements. Okay, so a number of tests. Movement was assessed during the functional movement screen, which is our movement screen of choice that helps assess functional movement, a widely accepted movement screen. Analysis involving an independent t-test, that's a specific test on there, and Pearson correlation were performed to identify association between measures. Okay, so these particular tests were used to assess breathing patterns correlation with dysfunctional movement. So they found that individuals who exhibited biochemical and biomechanical signs of breathing pattern disorder, okay, they found that they definitely had a breathing pattern disorder, were significantly more likely to score poorly on the functional movement screen. And these studied measures BPT correlated highly with each other. So through this and a number of other research papers correlating breathing dysfunction with movement have constantly shown to have a positive correlation with each other. What exactly is a breathing pattern disorder? So weakness, tightness or shortness, hyper-responsive mean they react too much, hypo-responsiveness meaning the muscles do not react very well, or they react slowly, or have poor control, meaning they just don't know what to do in the particular muscles of diaphragm, abdominals, intercostals, scalenes, sternomastoid, traps, pecs, and serratus. So these are all muscles that basically wrap around either the lower part of the neck, the shoulders, the chest, and the rib cage. Okay, so one thing that we can take away from this is that there's two pieces to breathing. One is, the neural part, the mental part, the part that's tied in with the brain, and then it's actually muscular. It's something that can become weak or strong, just like a bicep or a quad muscle. How your leg muscles get stronger when you squat. You can actually create better breathing patterns by becoming stronger in these particular muscles. Essentially, dysfunctional breathing is system noise. Dysfunctional breathing can, again, create pain in your body. It can change your emotions. It can change your response to temperature, where dysfunctional breathing can make you more sensitive to extreme temperatures, hot and cold. And it can decrease motor control, like coordination and strength. So poor breathing pattern, say a deadlift, might make you appear weaker in that deadlift versus having a strong breathing pattern. You'll be able to lift much more weight and safely. The emotional component is that it can change your behaviors, your perceptions of everything around you, and symptoms. So think about, there was a point in my career years ago where, I was really working a lot, and I noticed that the busier I got and the more stress I got, sometimes I would catch myself holding my breath at red lights. I wouldn't even intend to do it. It would just kind of happen. And that was kind of like an unintentional stressor on my body, or at least a reflection that I was very stressed out. So not only was I stressed out, it was creating more stress in my body. And little did I know I was losing motor control in my body, because nothing can operate or function properly if you're not getting the right amount of oxygen in your body, or you're triggering a stress response that makes you tighter. Getting really worked up does not necessarily make you fast. So in most sports like golf or baseball, any swinging style sports, that if you get some really good coaching, you realize that the harder you try to swing a golf club or a bat, and the more you tense up, the slower the swing speed actually becomes. So the harder you swing, sometimes, if you're not trained, the club speed or the bat speed actually gets slower. So same thing can happen when our breathing is all junky. Sometimes our motor patterns just get much, much worse. So that is one thing that creates a better or worse response in the body from a lot of different angles. Breathing can improve stress states, can improve pain, can improve your response to various temperatures, and can improve your motor control and strength. And it can be improved through practice. Good breathing is variable, it's responsive, little to no negative symptoms when it changes. So the three types of breathing we will practice is diaphragmatic breathing, and I have drills to help you improve diaphragmatic breathing, and that's to help trigger a parasympathetic, a calm, relaxing response in the body, and strengthens the core. I don't have the word core there, but it strengthens the core. Box breathing improves the use of CO2 and improves stress adaptation. It's another way to help improve your conditioning as well. So you can actually, in conditioning workouts or any cardio, box breathing can help improve that. I'll show you the methods there. And then breathing in various positions. So one thing is that when your body changes position, If you work on breathing in a seated position, sitting upright, you can master it in that position. But say you stand up and hold a kettlebell right in front of your chest, you could breathe entirely different. Your nervous system is responding to a lot of different things, and that's a lot more noise for your body to deal with. So if you want to improve pain and you want to improve all these different things through breathing, we have to practice breathing in various positions. Namely, in our case, positions which we are going to lift weights in, where that better breathing can really, really help us. So without waiting anymore, let's get to the drills.